Hi, I'm Joe Neal, and I love to go out in springtime in the grasslands in western Arkansas. And they're just really interesting places. And so these are some photographs and some experiences from those trips over the years. And that's a savanna sparrow right there that's fixing to migrate north. Some, this is, Indian paintbrush, one of my favorite plants. And this is a little map, probably hard to understand, but what you're really looking at here is mostly Washington County and Benton County, and the dark areas are original tallgrass prairie habitats. And so that's where a lot of these photographs were taken. So it's extreme northwest Arkansas. And look at all those flowers. Those are all native flowers in northwest Arkansas on these tallgrass prairies. And I just want to show you this. I can't resist this. This is a picture postcard from the 1940s or 50s. But this is the way I remembered the area between Fayetteville and Springdale from when I was a kid. And it was very open. This is now completely covered with businesses and so forth. But some of these areas have been preserved, and you see some of these areas because they're wet and they hold a lot of water, they didn't get developed, and as a result, they've now become natural areas, quite a few of them. And in migration, American golden plovers stop over. And this is at the University Farm, and you can see prairie mounds, the mounded areas. Those are original formations. Most of them were plowed down when our area was growing corn and wheat, but some remain. And in between the mounds are these lenses that hold water when there's a lot of rainfall. And you can see these fields. These are all fields that were plowed, and but they were originally prairies, and they still hold a lot of water. And these are used by all kinds of migrating birds. One of them that likes it a lot are snipe. Yes, there really are snipe, and they really like this wet cover. And you see areas like this where the mounds have been somewhat plowed down, so you see the higher spots, but then the water forms around them, and that's what a lot of migrating birds use. And like one of them here, how about that? It's a little rail called a sora. And a bird we all really love to see, sometimes pretty hard to see. It's a little sparrow. They used to be called sharp-tailed sparrows. Now we just call it Nelson sparrow. And something that's real common in these wet habitats in the grasslands around northwest Arkansas are the chimneys of burrowing crayfish. And this is a native crayfish that's unique to our area. And they bring this mud up because they burrow down to the water that's underground. And there's what one looks like when it's not down in its burrow. And fires were common in the past because prairies get overgrown with trees without fire, and lightnings set fires. Native Americans set fires, early settlers did, and now land managers use fires for the same reason, and that is to keep the woody vegetation off the prairies And lots of birds like this LeConte sparrow come into those areas in the winter. It flickers, like to get out there and look for ants where the soil has been exposed after a burn. And look at that big blue stem grass, or old timers called it turkey foot, because it kind of reminded them of big feet of turkeys at the grassy heads. And how about that? During migration, all kinds of birds that have wintered south of us pass through headed north. And the big birds are Hudsonian godwits, and the little birds are stilt sandpipers. And they're all headed north, and they all depend on habitats like these. And those are willets, most of them. And there's one dowitcher hanging out with the willets. And how about that for a classy looking bird? White-faced ibis, foraging in the wetlands. And great egrets. And Henslow sparrow in the grasslands. Now they're only here as migrants. They were once a nesting bird here. And you have to go quite a ways away to find nesting Henslow sparrows, but we still do find them in migration. Horned larks, dickcissels, and that's a female dickcissel, and she's caught some, looks like some flies of some kind, or maybe little bees, to go feed her young. And look at this winter bird, Harris's sparrow. They nest way up in the Arctic, and they come down here in winter. And usually they hang out with the white-crowned sparrows. And this is a marsh wren. And this is a grasshopper sparrow, and singing over a big field, big open field. And a young one. And eastern meadowlark, and barn swallows out in these big open areas. And there are wild turkeys. These are over at the Buffalo River. And look at the grackle after a crayfish. How about that? Who do you think's going to win that battle? Well, I watched it for quite a while, and eventually the grackle did prevail. And sometimes in migration you get pretty extraordinary things like these yellow-headed blackbirds that are from the west. And blue-winged teal migrate through in pretty good numbers. And all kinds of shorebirds. And of course these wet areas that are in these old prairies, the shallow ponds are widely used by Canada goose and loggerhead shrike. And solitary sandpipers and indigo buntings in the thickets. And how about that? Or that? Can you see the eggs? You have to look under this female killdeer. And male wood ducks in a pond. And Louisiana water thrush. And a solitary sandpiper. And this is a Cooper's hawk. I think it caught a robin. An pileated woodpecker has nested in a big old snag. Probably a big dead pine tree from the looks of things. And the young birds, you can see, were ready to be fed. And here a red-tailed hawk has caught some kind of a mammal, small mammal it looks like. And goldfinches getting, this is out of a big sunflower, and the goldfinches have a bill that's perfect for reaching in there and getting those little seeds. And red-winged blackbirds, look at those spectacular red epaulets. And migrating through in those shallow water areas and gleaning the seeds off all kinds of grasses. And gulls migrating through, headed north. These are Franklin's gulls. And here, how about this one? Long-billed curlew. Typically, you have to go way further west to see long-billed curlews, but they have stopped over in the old prairies, what's left of our prairies in northwest Arkansas. And we still have pretty regular migrations from this one. Upland sandpipers. It's one of my favorites, actually. And white-crowned sparrows are here in the winter. And the areas where they nest way up north have not been impacted much by human development of any kind. And as a result, we still see a lot of them down here in winter. And we see quite a few of these. These are American pipits. And we see quite a few starlings. And here's that roadrunner. It got up on top of one of these, I'm not sure exactly what you call these, but people put them on top of their buildings so heat can dissipate from the attic. And the roadrunner got up there and rode it with a snake in its bill. It was up at Beaver Lake. And rough-winged swallows. And golden plovers. And finally, the most regal of them all, a great blue heron. And thank you so much for watching.